Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello and welcome everyone. We are Group 5 from the Office Administration Education Program, the State University of Jakarta. In this video, we will present our topic on payment in business correspondent, an essential part of professional communication in the business world. This presentation is part of our English correspondent course guide by our lecturer, Miss Ervina Maulida, SPD MBA. We hope this video help you to understand the importance of the payment-related communication in business context. This presentation is a collaborative effort by the following members, Dafa Sujahmat, Dinda Ramadhani Kurotayun, and Mafalda Herliana. Before we move on to the main material, first we need to understand what is payment in correspondent. Payment in correspondent refers to formal written communication used in business to discuss matters related to financial transaction, especially those involving payment. This includes sending or responding to invoice, requesting payment for good or service, notifying delays, confirming receipt of funds, or even making payment complaints. Such letters are often exchanged between supplier and buyers, service provider and clients, or between business departments. They serve as a professional, traceable record of communication and can be important in case of disputes or legal follow-up. In international business, payment correspondent is not just about money. It also shows professionalism, trust, and the ability to manage business relationship with clarity and mutual respect. Jadi, pembayaran dalam koresponden ini adalah bentuk komunikasi tertulis resmi yang digunakan dalam konteks bisnis untuk membahas hal-hal yang berkaitan dengan transaksi keuangan, khususnya mengenai pembayaran. Jadi, ini tuh mencangkup pengiriman atau tanggapan terhadap faktur, permintaan pembayaran atas barang atau jasa, pemberitahuan keterlambatan pembayaran, konfirmasi penerimaan dana, hingga pengaduan terkait pembayaran. Why is payment correspondent important? First, to ensure clarity and professionalism in financial dealings. Clear and well-structured payment letters help both parties, the sender and the receipt, understand exactly what amount is due, for what service or goods, and when it should be paid. It avoids ambiguity, show attention to detail, and reflect the company professionalism in handling its financial responsibility. Jadi, surat pembayaran yang ditulis dengan jelas dan terstruktur itu membantu kedua pihak, baik pengirim maupun penerima, untuk memahami dengan pasti berapa jumlah yang harus dibayarkan, untuk layanan atau barang apa, dan kapan tenggat pembayarannya, untuk menghindari ambiguitas, menunjukkan perhatian terhadap detail, dan mencerminkan profesionalisme perusahaan dalam menangani tanggung jawab keuangannya. Second, avoids misunderstanding and disputes. When payment terms, due date, and invoice reference are written clearly in correspondent, it reduces the chance of miscommunication. If a misunderstanding arises, the written record can clarify attention and help both parties resolve the issue peacefully. Jadi, saat syarat pembayaran, tanggal jatuh tempo, dan nomor faktur tertulis dengan jelas dalam surat, kemungkinan salah paham ini akan berkurang. Jikapun terjadi kesalahpahaman, korespondensi yang terdokumentasi ini dapat menjelaskan maksud masing-masing pihak dan membantu menyelesaikan masalah dengan baik. Third, acts as legal or documentary proof of transaction. Written correspondence such as payment request reminder, or confirmation can serve as formal evidence in case of legal disputes. It documents what was communicated, when, and by whom. This is particularly important in international or large-scale business where proof communication is essential. Jadi, korespondensi tertulis seperti permintaan pembayaran, pengingat, atau konfirmasi dapat menjadi bukti resmi apabila terjadi perselisihan hukum. Surat tersebut itu mendokumentasikan apa yang dikomunikasikan, kapan waktunya, dan siapa pengirimnya. Ini sangat penting dalam bisnis internasional atau transaksi dalam skala besar, di mana bukti komunikasi itu menjadi hal yang krusial. The next material is payment flow in business correspondent. In the business world, payment is not merely about transferring money. It is part of a true-based communication process between two parties. Below is more detailed look at the typical payment stage and the correspondent involved. First is order is placed. The process begin when a buyer places an order for good or service, usually through a purchase order, email, or digital platform. Jadi proses proses itu dimulai ketika pembeli melakukan pemesanan barang atau jasa, biasanya melalui surat pesanan, email resmi, atau platform digital. Second, invoice is sent. After the order is confirmed, the seller issues an invoice stating details such as amount, due date, payment terms, and banking info. Jadi setelah pemesanan dikonfirmasi, penjual itu akan mengirimkan faktur yang mencantumkan jumlah tagihan, tanggal jatuh tempo, syarat pembayaran, dan informasi rekening. Third, payment is met or delayed. The buyer send the payment. However, delays may occur due to financial or technical issues. If that happens, the buyer usually send a formal explanation. Jadi, pembeli kemudian itu akan melakukan pembayaran. Tetapi apabila terjadi keterlambatan, uh, bisa uh, bisa saja terjadi karena keuangan atau teknis. Jika hal tersebut terjadi, pembeli itu biasanya akan mengirimkan surat penjelasan atau permintaan penjadwalan ulang. Fourth, payment confirmation or follow-up. Once payment is received, the seller send a confirmation letter or receipt. If the payment is late or missing, a reminder letter or final demand may be issued. Jadi setelah dana diterima, penjual akan mengirim surat konfirmasi atau tanda terima. Jika pembayaran belum diterima, penjual itu bisa mengirim surat pengingat atau bahkan surat penagihan terakhir. Next, the structure of payment letter. Just like any formal business letter, a payment letter has four basic part: header, opening, body, and closing. The first part is header. It contains the sender's and recipient address and the date the letter is written. This make the letter look official and help identify who's involved in the transaction. Jadi bagian pertama itu ada header. Jadi di sini kita menulis alamat pengirim dan penerima serta tanggal surat dibuat. Bagian ini penting untuk menunjukkan bahwa surat ini resmi dan bisa dilacak oleh pihak-pihak yang terlibat. Next is the opening. This is where you briefly state the purpose of the letter. Jadi di sini selanjutnya itu ada bagian opening. Di sini kita bisa menyampaikan tujuan dari surat itu secara singkat. The third part is the body, which contain all the important details such as the invoice number, amount, due date, if needed, and explanation for the delay. Jadi bagian ketiga itu ada body surat, yaitu bagian inti surat yang berisi semua detail penting seperti nomor faktur, jumlah tagihan, jatuh tempo, atau kalau perlu itu alasan keterlambatan. And lastly, the closing. Here we politely request a follow-up, like asking for payment, or we simply thank the recipient. Jadi ini yang terakhir itu ada bagian closing atau penutup. Jadi di sini kita minta lanjut secara sopan, misalnya minta pembayaran atau cukup ucapkan terima kasih. Uh, and here's example of payment letters. The next material will be explained by my partner.
Okay, thank you, Dinda. After understanding the importance of payment is business correspondence and the general structure of a payment letter, Now we will go into a more specific discussion. This is invoice and statement. Next slide. What is an invoice? An invoice is one the primary document used is commercial activities. It function not only as a payment request from the seller to the buyer, but also as an official and legal record of the transaction that has taken place. Typically, an invoice includes crucial details such as the names and quantity of goods or service, unit and total price, transaction date, and payment terms and condition. Furthermore, invoice also have the following function. First, as a payment request. An invoice serves as an official document to request payment from the buyer for goods or services that have been provided. Second, proof of transaction. It is valid advance that transaction has occurred, listing purchase details such as quantity, price, and date. Third, as a financial recording tool, it assistant in accounting and bookkeeping for both the seller and the buyer. Fourth, as a legal document. It can be used as legal evidence in the event of dispute between the seller and the buyer. Five, as a basis for tax reporting, used as a reference document in tax reporting. And six, as proof of goods delivery. In some cases, an invoice also indicated the goods have been delivered to the buyer. And the last one, as a reference in audits. And invoice is one the of in and invoice is one of the main documents used in the company financial audit process. Jadi invoice itu bukti permintaan pembayaran dan catatan transaksi yang penting. Bisa juga dipakai untuk audit dan pelaporan perpajakan. Next slide. Let's look at the key component of an invoice. There are 5 main sections. First, billing purpose. This includes the receipt name, possession, and company name. Second, debt collector identity. The name and identity of the seller or service provider. Third, reference number. This includes the invoice number, purchase order number, and other reference codes. Fourth, it lists a breakdown of goods or service, including quantities, description, price, and totals. And the last one, tax and total billing, the amount of tax applied and the final amount to be paid. Each of this section is important to ensure clarity, accountability, and proper recording keeping in business transaction. Jadi invoice itu punya bagian-bagian penting seperti nama penerima, pengirim, daftar barang, dan total pembayaran. Next slide. Here is some example sentence you might find on a typical invoice. Di sini ada attached is invoice no B1951 in the amount of 329. This show the invoice number and total amount billed. Yang kedua itu ada enclosed in invoice nomor D167 in the amount of 723. This one mention discount and encourage timely payment. Dan yang terakhir ada our invoice nomor TR 33516 in the amount of 6.780 euro net is enclosed. This highlight case is discount for early payment. These examples show how invoices are typically awarded is business communication, emphasizing professionals and clarity. Jadi kalimat di invoice ini biasanya tuh sebut nomor, jumlah tagihan, dan ajakan untuk bayar tepat waktu. Next slide. Now let's talk about pro forma invoice. What is an pro forma invoice? Jadi a pro forma invoice is primarily the comment sent to a buyer before a formal sales takes place. It includes information such as the description of goods, price, and terms of the sale. It is not a demand for payment and is not legally binding. Instead, it is used to help the buyer understand the expected cost and terms before agreeing to the transaction. Jadi pro forma itu dokumen awal yang sebelum transaksi resmi yang berisi detail barang dan harga. Jadi bukan tagihan resmi dan tidak wajib dibayar. Dan ini tuh digunakan hanya sebagai gambaran buat awal si pembeli. Nah, for the pro forma also have the following function. First, as a basis for advance payment. Second, provides certainty regarding price and sales terms. Third, use it is consignment or sell on approved system. Fourth, as supporting document for custom. Five, as an official communication tool for price quotation. And the last one, support budgeting planning and procurement by the buyer. Next slide. Oke, di sini ada karakteristik of pro forma invoice. Jadi yang pertama itu ada not an official payment request. A pro forma invoice serves only as a question or estimate document. It cannot be used for the direct payment processing like an standard invoice. Yang kedua itu used prior to the official transaction. It is sent to the buyer before the sale or shipment takes place as an initial confirmation of the goods, pricing, and terms of the transaction. And third, includes the term pro forma. The document explicitly features the label or stamp pro forma invoice to distinguish it from an official invoice. For display product or service details, such as product names, quantity, unit price, total price, and other relevant information regarding the transaction. 5 contains seller and buyer information, includes company names, address, contact number, and other relevant details. And 6 might include additional information. Dan ini optional, can list extra charge such as shipping fees, taxes, or insurance, depending on the agreement. 7, tentative or estimative in nature. As an initial document, all figures the approximate and subject to change before the issue of the official invoice. Egg used for import or export purpose, commonly used in international transaction to assist with custom clearance procedure. And the last one contains a reference or document number. Typically includes a document number for tracking and matching with order or the final invoice. Jadi di sini di samping ini ada contoh dari pro forma invoice-nya. Boleh di next slide. Selanjutnya, here are some example sentence you might find on a typical pro forma invoice. Yang pertama itu ada enclosed is for pro forma invoice nomor 1164 for 8.253 euro in reference to your order no C1534. This sentence refers to the invoice number, total amount, and indicators that the goods are being prepared for shipment. We are enclosing pro forma invoice nomor H9181 for 3.960 euro. This one show the total price for a consignment of charge and that the order was made for approval. Jadi tuh kalimat di faktur pro forma ini biasanya nyebut nomor invoice, total tagihan, status pengiriman, dan permintaan pembayaran atau pengembalian barang sesuai kesepakatan. Boleh di next. Oke, selanjutnya ada statement of account. Jadi definisi statement of account itu, a statement of account is a summary document sent periodically by the seller to the buyer. It lists financial transaction with a specific period, including purchase, payment, returns, and any outstanding balance owed. Jadi statement of account juga punya function yaitu summaries transaction for financial record matching, reminds buyer of unpaid invoice, supports smooth payment process, dan may include early payment discount offers. Boleh di next slide. Nah, statement of account itu punya karakteristik yaitu yang pertama ada contain details transaction information, yaitu invoice, debit notes, and credit note for a specific period. Kemudian ada list opening balance, transaction, and outstanding balance. Yang ketiga ada typical send monthly or quarterly. Dan yang terakhir ada not always accompanied by a cover letter except in case of overdue payment, special offers, thank you, or customer appreciation message. Boleh di next. Jadi yang pertama ada I enclose your statement of account as at 31 Juli. I remind you that your June statement remains unpaid. The candy as that is paid as soon as possible. Kemudian ada here is your statement of account SN 31 Mei this year if the balance of 1,661 is paid within the next 7 days, you might deduct 3% cash discount. Kemudian ada common phrases used in the document. The phrase as at 31 March, meaning up to date. Example situation of us used by companies with regular transaction relationship with supplier. Issued as a weekly or monthly report to corporate client. Serves as part of the documentation in financial reporting or audits. Boleh di next slide. Kemudian di bab ketiga ada settlement of account. Boleh di next slide. Jadi method of payment rate within UK. Yang pertama, jadi itu ada metode pembayarannya itu yang pertama itu bank draft, yang dimana it's a payment document purchased by the customer from a bank, often requiring two director signature. Yang kedua ada bank transfer, involves in the direct order to the bank to transfer funds from the customer account to the supplier. Yang three, bill of exchange allows the supplier to request payment from the customer within a specific time frame. Yang four, check payment require a current or certain savings account. Five, credit transfer occurs when a customer fills out a bank giro slip and submit it with a check for the bank to transfer to the supplier. Yang selanjutnya, debit atau credit card payments yang can be made easily through phone or internet, allowing for fast and secure transaction. Next, letter of credit is guarantee issued by a bank to pay supplier on behalf of the customer widely used in the international trade. The next, a cash on delivery atau COD allows customer to pay upon receiving the goods, often handled by postal service. The next, post office giro enables payment through postal service even without having a giro account, offering flexibility. The last one, postal order is suitable for small payment and can be purchased at a post office. Boleh di next slide. Selanjutnya ada methods of payment rate outside UK. Jadi yang pertama itu ada bank transfer. The buyer instruct the bank to send money to the supplier account. Often uses the SWIFT system for international transfer. Second, bill of exchange, a formal document from the supplier asking the buyer to pay a specific debt. Third, check a physical payment instrument. It can take weeks to clear between countries. The next, documentary credit. A bank pays the supplier after confirming shipping document. Next, international bank draft. A check issued by the bank and sold to the customer. Next, international money order purchased from a post office and sent to the supplier. And next, international postal bureau used when a third party doesn't have a bank account. The last one, promissory note, a written promise by the buyer to pay a certain amount. Boleh di next slide. Now let's move on to the advance of payment. This is an official letter or a document that comes from the buyer and it is sent to the seller. It informs the seller that a payment has either been made or is certainly in process. The key purpose of an advance of payment are itu ada to notify the payments has been made, to show the buyer's goodwill, to help track the payment process, and to serve as part of business documentation. Kemudian di sini ada common contest, itu ada the invoice number and date, the amount paid, the method of payment such as bank transfer or check, bank or transaction reference, and a request for receipt confirmation if needed. Jadi advice of payment ini dikirim pembeli untuk memberitahu bahwa pembayaran ini sedang diproses atau telah dilakukan. Boleh di next slide. Nah, di sini ada contoh dari kalimat advice payment. Di sini ada brief and direct, common in the UK. Ini biasanya kalimatnya singkat. Jadi cuman I have instructed my bank to transfer 16.100 euro to your account in settlement of your my statement. Terus kalau misalkan more detailnya, ini yang lebih lengkap lagi. Tipikal ini biasanya international trade, yang dimana we would like to confirm that we have arranged a bank transfer truck or bank Hammerstark-Bergen for 9.120 in payment of invoice number R161. Could you please confirm that the transfer has been complete as soon as possible? Boleh di next slide. Let's talk about acknowledgement of payment. Jadi acknowledgement itu of payment is a letter or email sent by the seller to the buyer to confirm that the payment has been successfully received and recorded. Although it is not considered a legal document, it plays an important role in maintaining transparent communication and fostering trust between both parties. The main purpose of sending an acknowledgement of payment are to confirm the receipt of payment, to close the finance transaction cycle, to build trust and transparency, and to enhance the seller's professional reputation. Nah, typical acknowledgement itu a thank you note for the payment, the date and amount of payment, the related invoice or order number, confirmation that the funds have been received or credit, hopes or future cooperation. Boleh di next. Di sini ada contoh kalimat dari acknowledgement of payment. Jadi Yang pertama itu ada thank you for your bank draft atau credit transfer of berapa harganya. Kemudian di payment apa. Kemudian ada lagi yang kedua, we receive notification from our bank this morning that your invoice has been credited to our account. Nah, this process not only confirm the receipt of payment but also show appreciation and help maintain a professional tone. Jadi itu pengakuan pembayaran ini dikirim oleh penjual ke pembeli untuk mengonfirmasi bahwa pembayaran itu telah diterima. Nah, contoh kalimat yang tadi saya jelaskan tadi itu bisa digunakan untuk mengkonfirmasi dan mengucapkan terima kasih atas pembayarannya. Boleh di next slide. Untuk materi selanjutnya akan dijelaskan oleh rekan saya.
Okay, thank you, Mafalda. Next, there is material regarding delay payment. Well, the next. Okay, delay payment. Delay payment is a condition where a payment not made according to agreed time between the payer or the paid. This can happen to previous transactions such as bill payment, loan installment, employee salaries, or the purchase of a good and service. The cost of vary, ranging from cash flow problems, administrative negligence, to the delivery delay in payment. For the next. Okay. So, asking for more time to pay. Requesting additional time to stall payment is a common step taken individual or the business when facing financial difficulties. The request is made to the creditors, such as banks, suppliers, or the property owners, with clear communication and validation the supporting evidence that I am to avoid negative consequences, such as the finance, lowered credit scores, or the even legal conviction. To make an effectual request, there are few conditions that need to be considered. First, the request must accept submit before the payment is due. Second, provide clear reason and the supporting evidence, such as financial document and certificate. Third, present the request in a professional manner, either through email, official letter, or direct communication. There are several payment options that can provide, such as postponing term paying in installment or other agreement. If the request approved, make sure to prepare a written document as proof of the agreement between the two parties. To make the application more likely to success, there are several tips that can affect. The first, show a good previous payment history. Second, propose a solution that interested and within your financial means. And finally, avoid the repeat the delay so as not they make the creditor trust. With the next approach, the request the additional payment time can be approved with you causing further the problems. Jadi meminta waktu tambahan untuk menyelesaikan pembayaran adalah langkah yang umum diambil oleh individu atau bisnis ketika menghadapi kesulitan keuangan. Permohonan ini diajukan kepada kreditor seperti bank, supplier, atau pemilik properti dengan komunikasi yang jelas dan disertai alasan serta bukti pendukung yang valid. Tujuannya adalah untuk menghindari konsekuensi negatif seperti denda, penurunan skor kredit, atau bahkan sanksi hukum. Nah, agar permohonan lebih berpeluang sukses, Anda dapat memberikan tips yang bisa diterapkan. Yang pertama itu adalah tunjukkan riwayat pembayaran yang baik sebelumnya. Kedua adalah ajukan solusi yang realistis dan sesuai dengan kemampuan finansial. Dan yang terakhir adalah hindari keterlambatan berulang agar tidak merusak kepercayaan kreditor. Dengan pendekatan yang tepat, permohonan waktu tambahan pembayaran dapat disetujui tanpa menimbulkan masalah lebih lanjut. Body next. Next, replying to the request from the time. Request additional time to stall payment is common step taken by individuals or business when facing financial difficulties. This request is made to creditors, such as the bank, suppliers, or the property owners, with clear communication and valid reason and supporting evidence. The aim is avoid negative consequences such as the finance, lower credit score, on the even legal section. To make effect request, there are few conditions that need to consider. First, the request must submit before payment is due. Second, responding to the payment exception request require a professional and balanced approach. Creditor need to conduct thorough evaluation of the debtor's situation, include the reason to delay and purpose payment history. While still considering there's the own business interests, that right response not only have minimized financial risks but also maintains a good relation with the debtor. The request evaluation process starts with verify the reason of the delay proposed by the debtor, such as temporary financial problems or other difficulty. In addition, creditor need to review debtor payment history access with they have a good record of the requirement delay. Based on the result of the evaluation, creditor can decide to approve the request with question condition, reject by providing clear reasons of other alternative solutions such as more flexible payment schedule. Once a decision has been made, the next step implementation and a follow-up prediction should create written document confirming the new deal, including agreed terms, deadlines during the extension period, and the agreement monitor the board combination in voting obligation. If the debtor does not complete with the agreement, creditors need prepare further collection step and protect their business interests with a structure and a professional approach. Creditor can effectively manage payment extension requests. Jadi menanggapi permintaan perpanjangan waktu pembayaran memerlukan pendekatan yang profesional yang mempertimbangkan berbagai aspek penting kreditor. Perlu mengevaluasi situasi debitur secara menyeluruh sambil menjaga kepentingan bisnis sendiri. Respon yang tepat akan mampu mempertahankan hubungan baik sekaligus meminimalkan risiko finansial. Proses evaluasi permintaan dimulai dengan verifikasi alasan keterlambatan yang diajukan debitur, seperti masalah keuangan sementara atau kesulitan lainnya. Selain itu, kreditor perlu meninjau riwayat pembayaran debitur untuk melihat apakah mereka memiliki catatan yang baik atau sering mengalami keterlambatan. Berdasarkan hasil evaluasi ini, kreditor dapat memutuskan untuk menyetujui permintaan dengan syarat tertentu, menolaknya dengan memberikan alasan yang jelas, atau menawarkan solusi alternatif seperti jadwal pembayaran yang lebih fleksibel. Setelah keputusan dibuat, langkah-langkah selanjutnya adalah mengimplementasi dan tindak lanjut. Kreditor harus membuat dokumentasi tertulis yang mencakup kesepakatan baru, termasuk syarat dan tenggat waktu yang disepakati selama masa perpanjangan berlangsung. Penting untuk memantau kebutuhan debitur dalam memenuhi kewajibannya. Boleh next. Okay, next, request for payment. A payment requests a formal communication from a creditor to a debtor to request a prepayment of a debit bill according to agreement. This request can be confided through invoice, billing letters, reminder emails, of official notice including details such as amounts, due date, payment method, and consequence of the delay. The goal is ensure timely payment and maintain a smooth cash flow and creditors. Communication should be delivered in professional and courteous manner, starting with a gentle reminder before escalating to more extreme of the payment remains delay. In some cases, payment requests may accompanied by negotiation, such as discount of performance payment installment option, the liquid charge the debtor. With the right approach, payment requests not only save the collection, but also as part effective receivable management and maintains a good relationship with the debtors. Okay, boleh di next. Next, the material regarding first request for payment. Boleh next. Okay, first request for payment. The first request for payment is first step collection by the creditor when payment has not been received by due date. This communication formal yet calmed the remaining and debtor tried forget to delete obligation. The first request a payment is the first step in collection process. Creditor take away payment as are not received by due date. This communication is formally valid with a main object reminder the debtor of late forget payment obligates. The approach also aims to maintain a good business relation while ensuring financial obligations are met. In drafting the first request, the format and content the message shows a clear and complete. Typically, this requires delivery via email or a formal letter include important details such as invoice number, invoice amount, and due date. Attachment of supporting documents such as complete invoice and contract can also be including to facial verification. The language so as all professional and not confidential, so that a debtor does not pursue. For example, sentence such as a please confirmation the complete of payment give a polite impression will accompanying up speech for the debtor to clarify the errors obstacles. Flexible is also so by providing purpose payment option it may accelerate debtors. If there is not respond after the first request, the edit creditor can process at the more strip collection stage. Thus, the first request have a preventive measure before a more serious collection process is carried out, while at same time giving the debtor the opportunity to immediately fulfill his obligation without unnecessary inflation. Jadi permintaan pertama pembayaran merupakan langkah awal dalam proses penagihan yang dilakukan kreditor ketika pembayaran tidak diterima sesuai dengan tanggal jatuh tempo. Komunikasi ini bersifat formal namun tetap sopan, dengan tujuan utama mengingatkan debitur tentang kewajiban pembayaran yang terlambat atau terlupa. Pendekatan ini juga bertujuan untuk menjaga hubungan bisnis yang baik sambil memastikan kewajiban finansial dipenuhi. Biasanya bahasa yang digunakan harus profesional dan tidak konfrontatif, sehingga debitur tidak merasa tertekan. Contohnya kalimat seperti mohon konfirmasi penyelesaian pembayaran, memberikan kesan sopan sekaligus membuka ruang bagi debitur untuk klarifikasi jika terdapat kesalahan atau kendala. Fleksibilitas juga ditunjukkan dengan menyediakan berbagai opsi pembayaran untuk memudahkan debitur. Jika tidak ada respon setelah permintaan pertama, kreditor dapat melanjutkan ke tahap penagihan yang lebih tegas. Dengan demikian, permintaan pertama berfungsi sebagai langkah preventif sebelum proses penagihan yang lebih serius dilakukan. Kewajiban memberikan kesempatan kepada debitur untuk segera memenuhi kewajiban tanpa eskalasi yang tidak perlu. Very next. Okay, next second request for payment. The second request for payment is more a strict follow-up after the first request has been ignored by debtor. This communication is more formal than emphasizes the agency of the statement, while maintaining professional that I'm so profit a clear warning the consequence of the payment, will maintain the probability of a probability statement. In terms of the content and the format, the second request reset the full detail of the transaction, including reference to the first request to ensure the debtor is answered the collection chronology, information of a applicable penalty of the interest also including as a form of the transparency. The first as such as your immediate attention. Evidence a more urgent tone than the first request. The second request also includes more serious consequences, such as feature active through debit collection legal channels, but still give the debtor the opportunity of clarity. The payment deadline gives usually stricter to encourage immediately statement. The method Sending the second request a more formal, such as registration letter of email with subject marked second warning. So emphasize the urgency and the seriousness of the matter if the second request remains ignored. This creditor will process to a serious collection process, such as a loaded service termination. As a last resort, collect the pending financial obligation. Jadi permintaan kedua pembayaran merupakan tindak lanjut yang lebih tegas setelah permintaan pertama diabaikan oleh debitur. Komunikasi ini bersifat lebih formal dan menekankan urgensi penyelesaian. Meskipun tetap menjaga profesionalitas, tujuannya adalah memberikan peringatan yang jelas tentang konsekuensi jika pembayaran tidak segera dilunasi, sambil mempertahankan kemungkinan penyelesaian secara baik dalam hal isi dan format. Permintaan kedua mencantumkan ulang detail transaksi secara lengkap, termasuk referensi permintaan pertama sebelumnya untuk memastikan debitur menyadari kronologi penagihan. Informasi tentang denda atau bunga yang berlaku juga disertakan sebagai bentuk transparansi penggunaan kalimat seperti mohon perhatiannya segera. Menunjukkan ada yang lebih mendesak dibandingkan permintaan pertama. Permintaan kedua juga mencantumkan konsekuensi yang lebih serius. Nah, metode pengiriman permintaan kedua biasanya lebih resmi, seperti surat tercatat atau email dengan subjek bertanda peringatan kedua, untuk menegaskan urgensi dan keseriusan masalah ini jika permintaan kedua tetap diabaikan. Kreditor akan melanjutkan ke proses penagihan yang lebih serius, seperti gugatan hukum atau penghentian layanan, sebagai upaya terakhir untuk penagihan kewajiban finansial yang tertunda. Go the next. Oke, next third request atau last request payment. Summons a financial warning is an official collection step has the force law and is a gateway a formal legal process. In the document usually takes a process statement letter a suspend not by registration mark of a lawyer. So it has strong legal validity. It's the most straightforward communication the collection step before usually goes to the court. The content of the summons must include several mandatory elements, including history of the proposed payment request, evidence of the direct collection efforts, detail of the total debit and penalty have been collected, and a very short deadline, usually 7 or 7 or 15 days. The letter must also include support legal article from a civil code under which demand a basis, strengthening the creditor legal position. The language as is a strict ultimatum with no room negotiation, with purpose at such as the last warning before legal possession, indicating the seriousness of the situation, the confidence method of the penal, engaging of the civil lawsuit as the user, and reinforcing to financial institution, to the charging legal fees of the debtor. Strategically, the suspend serves the document evidence of the collection effort that's been carried to of the stage, while operating as the store's legal document funding for the next purpose. It is also a from legal protection of the creditor rights and usuring other provisions have been followed before taking more serious legal action. This letter is a final limit of the creditor partisans of the will of the final warning of the debtors of the style their obligation before facing serious legal consequences. Surat somasi, jadi surat somasi atau peringatan terakhir merupakan langkah penagihan resmi yang memiliki kekuatan hukum dan menjadi pintu gerbang menuju proses hukum formal. Dokumen ini biasanya berbentuk surat bermaterai atau nota somasi yang dikirimkan melalui surat tercatat atau oleh pengacara, sehingga memiliki validitas hukum yang kuat. Ini merupakan bentuk komunikasi yang paling tegas dalam tahap penagihan sebelum benar-benar masuk ke meja pengadilan. Isi surat somasi harus mencakup beberapa elemen wajib, termasuk riwayat permintaan pembayaran sebelumnya sebagai bukti upaya penagihan berjenjang, rincian total beserta denda yang telah terkumpul, serta tanggal waktu yang sangat singkat, biasanya 7-14 hari. Bahasa yang digunakan bersifat ultimatum tegas tanpa ruang untuk negosiasi, dengan kalimat seperti peringatan terakhir sebelum proses hukum yang menunjukkan keseriusan situasi konsekuensi yang disebutkan pun bersifat final. Melalui dari gugatan perdata, penyitaan aset, laporan ke lembaga keuangan, hingga pembebanan biaya hukum kepada debitur. Secara strategis, surat somasi berfungsi sebagai bukti dokumentasi supaya penagihan yang dilakukan secara berjenjang sekaligus mempersiapkan landasan dokumen hukum yang kuat untuk proses selanjutnya. Ini sekaligus menjadi bentuk perlindungan hak-hak kreditor secara hukum, memastikan semua prosedur telah diikuti sebelum mengambil tindakan hukum yang lebih berat. Boleh di next. Okay, next example, tips and how to make effective payment requests. Creating effective repayment requests require a clear structure and the right approach. Here, the keys of the co-payment with creating professional payment require that can customize according of the level urgency. First, sample payment request structure. An effective payment request should have a clear, professional structure. It starts with a specific subject, such as payment reminder, invoice number, ref 2023-00542, to ensure the debtor immediately understanding the purpose of the communication. A formal opening solution creates a serious yet valid impression. The, the body should include full details such as invoice number, invoice amount, and due date. As the new deadline, there is extension. In addition, include possible consequences in payment remains delay, such as Venus legal action, and with a professional closing grading maintains good relation. 2. Effective tips for payment requests to active this purpose as professional language and avoid emotion to main objective. Make sure all important transaction details such as invoice number and amount are clearly listed. Avoid misreadings. Give a realistic deadlines such as 7 or the 15 days so that debtor has enough time to respond without feeling rushed. Also include information about consequences in requests in ignore as some formal transparency and motivation and complete the payment. Eventually, the choice and delivery medium is also important from email and initial request to register meant for more serious segment according to the level urgency and the assertion of the collection. Jadi, yang pertama itu adalah contoh struktur permintaan pembayaran. Sebuah permintaan pembayaran yang efektif harus memiliki struktur yang jelas dan profesional. Dimulai dengan subjek yang spesifik seperti peringatan pembayaran invoice dengan nomor ref untuk memastikan debitur langsung memahami tujuan komunikasi. Salam pembuka yang formal menciptakan kesan serius namun tetap sopan. Bagian isi harus mencakup detail lengkap seperti nomor invoice, jumlah tagihan, dan tanggal jatuh tempo, serta tenggat waktu baru jika ada perpanjangan. Selain itu, cantumkan konsekuensi yang mungkin terjadi jika pembayaran tetap tertunda, seperti denda atau langkah hukum. Yang kedua adalah tips efektivitas. Agar permintaan pembayaran mencapai tujuannya, gunakan bahasa yang profesional dan hindari emosi untuk menjaga objektivitas. Pastikan semua detail transaksi penting seperti nomor invoice dan jumlah tagihan tercantum dengan jelas untuk menghindari kesalahpahaman. Berikan dengan waktu yang realistis, misalnya 7-14 hari, agar debitur memiliki cukup waktu untuk merespon tanpa merasa terburu-buru, serta pula informasi tentang konsekuensi jika permintaan ini diabaikan. Body next. Okay. Next. 3. The third system. Implementing this third system in payment collection is an effective strategy to manage communication with debtors instead. In the first stage, starts with a polite reminder that is improvement in nature, aiming to provide opportunity for improvement without the present. In there is not response. The second starts is step warning, accompanied by information of the financial consequences, intention, and inserts in urgency. The third stage is illegal ultimatum that condition and formal warning of legal action. If payment remaining unpaid, this third approach allows debtor to respond according to the seriousness of the situation while protecting and creditor legal rights. 4. Important effectiveness. To maximize the effectiveness of payment requests, some best practice need to be implemented. The first, always attack proof transaction, such an invoice contract as valid reference. Second, as a content standard template of the maintenance professional and billing tracking. Third, follow up through multi-channels, email, phone, certificate mail to ensure the message in receipt. Finally, document or communication is detailed as audit trail needed to feature legal action. The combination of the technique not only increase the out successful collection but also build transparent and accountable system. Jadi yang ketiga itu ada sistem perjenjangan, di mana penerapan sistem perjenjangan dalam penagihan pembayaran merupakan strategi efektif untuk mengelola komunikasi dengan debitur secara bertahap. Tahap pertama dimulai dengan peringatan sopan yang bersifat informatif, bertujuan untuk memberikan kesempatan perbaikan terhadap tanpa tekanan. Jika tidak ada respon, tahap kedua berupa teguran tegas disertai informasi denda atau konsekuensi finansial lainnya, menunjukkan peringatan urgensi. Dan tahap ketiga merupakan ultimatum hukum yang berisi peringatan resmi tentang tindakan legal jika pembayaran tetap dilunasi. Yang keempat adalah peningkatan efektivitas yang bertujuan untuk memaksimalkan efektivitas permintaan pembayaran. Beberapa praktik terbaik perlu diterapkan. Yang pertama adalah selalu melampirkan bukti transaksi seperti invoice atau kontrak sebagai referensi yang valid. Kedua, gunakan template standar yang konsisten untuk menjaga profesionalitas dan memudahkan pelacakan. Ketiga, lakukan follow up melalui multi-channel seperti email, telepon, ataupun surat resmi untuk memastikan pesan diterima. Dan terakhir adalah dokumentasi seluruh komunikasi secara rinci sebagai bukti audit trial jika diperlukan untuk tindakan hukum di kemudian hari. Boleh di next. Okay, next Walter will explain to my partner.
Okay, here are seven. Okay, here are 7 key points to remember. First, invoice serve as both transaction record and payment request. Okay, here are 7 key points to remember. First, invoice serve as both transaction records and payment requests. Sometimes they come with a brief covering letter or email for added context. Second, pro forma invoice are used when prepayment is required for documentation purpose or to inform the customer about the price. Third, statement of account are typically sent monthly or quarterly and include a full breakdown of all transactions within that period. Fourth, there are various payment methods available, including options through banks and the post office. Fifth, payment advising letters tend to be brief and routine, but can also be used to propose new payment terms or to raise complaints. 6, when asking for more time to pay, it's important to first apologize for missing the due date, explain why the payment has not been made, and last, clearly state when and how you will settle the balance. Remember, creditors care more about when they will be paid than your reason for the delay. And lastly, 7, debt recovery typically follow 3 steps. First, send a polite letter acknowledging that there could be a valid reason for the unpaid balance. Second, send a more firm request referencing previous communication and include copies of invoice and statements. State clearly that payment or a response is expected within a reasonable time. And lastly, finally, if needed, send a final demand letter. It should review the situation, mention how long the balance has been overdue, and if necessary, warn about possible legal action if the debt is not clearly by specific debt. Okay, to wrap up, here is the conclusion of our presentation today. Payment correspondent is more than just writing about money, it's a crucial part of maintaining trust, professionalism, and clarity in business communication. Through invoice, payment letters, statement, and reminders, business ensures smooth transaction and reduce the risk of misunderstanding or disputes. Understanding the flow, structure, and tone of each type of document help us become more effective and responsible communicators in the world of business. This conclude This concludes our presentation on payment in business correspondence. We have covered key points, including its definition, structure, and role in facilitating clear and professional financial communication. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We hope the information provided has been helpful and contribute to a better understanding of the topic. See you on the next presentation.